I've heard Mark Carney try to convince Canadians that he's an outsider, that he's different than Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland. I have a couple of issues with that, a couple of points of contention, not the least of which is his position as the governor of the Bank of Canada. Don't go telling me that you're going to be the governor of the Bank of Canada and not have some political influence. Not to mention, leave aside his position as board member on the WEF. But let's just leave all that stuff aside for right now. Let's just talk about his positions with the Liberal Party. He has advised them on 7 of the last 9 budgets, which means that he has been involved in all the disastrous economic policies that have so far plagued Canada, has taken Canada from being a first-rate country with almost dollar on par with the United States to a dollar that is now nearly 40 cents cheaper. I mean, the Russian ruble is stronger in the United States than the Canadian dollar. Imagine that. The Russian ruble is stronger on the world market than the Canadian dollar because of the policies of the Liberal government. And Mark Carney's influence on that cannot be ignored, cannot be understated. There's a couple of other things. It's not just about the state of the dollar or the economy or the inflation that all of Mark Carney's policies clearly have brought to Canada. He refuses flat out to talk to independent media. That he kicks them off the property. He doesn't allow them in the building. If they see somebody that's not a full-blown hardcore liberal, they come out and they get the police to remove them from the line. He's traveling around with an RCMP escort. He's not even an elected member of government. He doesn't have he doesn't have a riding anywhere, yet he's traveling around with a paid escort, paid for by the taxpayer. I'm having a hard time seeing where he's so outside. By contrast, Pierre Poilievre talks to the independent media constantly. He lets them ask the questions. He doesn't pre-approve it. He goes and allows them to, in some cases, ask the questions ahead of the corporate media. How can the Liberal government, how can Mark Carney try to convince you that he's anything different if he's so far outside, if all of his policies and all of his actions and all of his behaviors are the same? Recently, it's come to light that people were showing that he was talking about how close he is with Donald Trump. And as a result, he banned everybody from bringing recording devices into his rallies. What world are we living in that Mark Carney doesn't realize that even 9-year-olds are walking around with cameras and microphones in their pocket? I don't see him as being any different than what we've already seen coming before you. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Subscribe to the Canadian Shield. Thanks for listening.